feel like your words just aren't landing? Or maybe you have a message to share and you just don't know how to share that message confidently. I've been there. And today I'm going to share how you can instantly improve your communication so that every word comes out with clarity and impact. Hey Royal Family, thank you for choosing the front row with myself, Roanna Mudley. I am a mom, content creator, dancer, and marketing leader, and I have spent more than 8 years in broadcasting. And I've emceed and spoken at many events. This experience has taught me so much about how to communicate well and how to articulate your message in the right way. I've also helped people that I work with to be better at their speaking and their presenting by coaching them and training them so that they can show up as their best selves. You want to learn to speak clearly, speak audibly, learn to pronounce your words correctly, learn how to pronounce the words well in the dialect of the language. If you're speaking English, learn how to pronounce the English words well so that it lands well to the receiver of English. I started off learning how to pronounce words well when I was a little girl. I used to try and do it with the dialect. It started with some of our Indian songs and hymns and devotional music where the songs are predominantly in another language. And the more I practiced, I started to learn the different textures of how your tongue moves, how your mouth is supposed to connect with your teeth and tongue to pronounce the words correctly. And the more I practiced, the better I got in my pronunciation. When you pronounce your words well, it is appreciated and received well by the person that's hearing you out. I also like to learn to pronounce people's names the way they say it. If it is a particular accent, there's a reason for that accent, right? When you are conscious of how you pronounce words, you start developing your brain to execute words in a certain way. And with practice, it starts becoming easier. The best way to do this is to practice aloud. I love taking a newspaper, a book, anything really, and reading it out aloud. And if I'm not in front of a mirror, I'll record myself and listen to myself, because the way I would say a certain word might be different to the way it's supposed to be said. We live with such ease now because we've got Google that tells us exactly how to pronounce a word. We've got media that you can look at to hear other people pronounce a certain word. So it's not difficult to learn how to pronounce. Duolingo is a fabulous app that helps you and teaches you how to pronounce certain words. So if you are focused on English, for example, and it is not your main language, then it is important for you to learn how to use your tongue, your jaws, your mouth in a certain way to execute the word correctly. Pace is very important. Brown people are known for speaking really fast. I do that sometimes when I'm very excited about something, or I just want to get the message across very quickly, and I can eat up my words at times. And I used to do it more prominently when I was younger. I think when I first started on radio, I was so nervous, so I just wanted to get the words out there. And I remember my parents saying to me, like, slow down, you're speaking so fast. Pace is very important. I started to listen to people who were really good presenters, really good speakers, really good with articulating their words and verbally communicating well. And I picked up on pace. They all had a way of speaking. It was clear, it was nice to hear, and it wasn't too high pitched, it wasn't too low pitched, it wasn't too slow, it wasn't too fast. It was just at the right frequency. The other thing you want to do is you want to expand your vocabulary. The more you read, the more you listen, the more you absorb, the better you will be able to speak. If your vocabulary is limited, it's very difficult for you to convey your message in the way that you need it to be received. Also, different people receive messages differently. For example, if I'm speaking to a 10-year-old, the way I articulate my message to a 10-year-old will be very different to how I speak to someone who's 45 years old. I'll also speak very differently to someone who's 75 and 80. So having the ability to understand how to manipulate your execution is also important, because if you spoke in a boardroom style to a 10-year-old, they wouldn't even give two hoots to what you said. Like a really good example is those kiddies programs where some of the teachers on the kiddies program speak very differently to how you would speak to an adult, where they're saying things like, hello, how are you today? And kids love her because she is speaking in the way that they receive that information really well. But if she spoke to us like that, like we would be like, who is this crazy person? So being able to manipulate your execution style to the audience that you're speaking to is also important. You don't want to be speaking in a very casual way, like how you would speak to your maybe family members when you're in a boardroom, and vice versa. The next step is to practice good body language. How are you showing up? What hand gestures are you using? What facial expressions do you have? If you're standing up, how are you presenting yourself when you're standing? If you're sitting down and talking, how are you showing up when you're sitting and talking? People notice body language way faster than they would listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth. Gestures, eye movement, hand movement, the way you dress, the way you smell, the way you smile, the way you don't smile, how many times you blink, how your face is done, is your face looking clean, etc. all contribute to how someone perceives the communication that's being executed. So when you focus on your posture, focus on standing tall or sitting tall if it is a sit down type of communication scenario. Be confident, take up space. Don't be sitting in a little corner if somebody asks you something and you're like, no, nothing, I don't have anything to say. You don't want to be that person, right? You want to take up space because that shows that you're confident and you know what you're talking about. So the message that they're going to receive, they know, okay, this person has built credibility with me because they're confident in what they're saying. Then you want to make sure that you look good, because when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you're more confident. So that can be subjective. What looks good to me may not look good to you, and vice versa. But it's looking good for yourself. When you look in the mirror, are you proud of this person that you see? Are you happy with this person that you see? And when you feel happy about that person that you're looking at, that's the person that you need to dress like and look like. If your hair is well kept, your skin is not dry and patchy, your nails are neat, your clothes are neat, it makes a difference in how people receive you. Every single time I don't look 100%, and it's usually when I'm doing errands, like I won't have makeup, my hair will be like a little bit crazy and wild, I won't particularly feel as confident as I feel now, because today my hair is neat, I've looked in the mirror and I feel proud of who I see. But when you have that feeling of, I don't want to look in the mirror, I'm not having that day, that's the day you're not going to be able to articulate or communicate very well. This is also something you want to practice in front of the mirror. You want to see how you look in front of the mirror. If it is a presentation that you're doing in the boardroom, practice that presentation in front of the mirror. If you are too self-conscious and you can't look at yourself because you lose focus, then just film yourself and watch it and then critique yourself and change things where necessary. You want to get into a habit of self-analysis, because then you allow yourself room for improvement. If you don't practice, if you don't look at things, if you don't analyze things, then you're setting yourself up for failure or the message or communication not being received or executed well. Practice makes perfect. And the more you do it, the easier it feels and the easier it starts becoming. Every day you should practice. How are you walking? How are you sitting? What gestures are you doing? Are you just like chilling when you're sitting in the office, or are you someone that's very conscious of how you look and you want to be presented in a certain way? Because the way you behave, your body language creates perceptions in the mind of the receiver, and when that perception is created, it's very difficult for them to change their perception of you. You have to work extra hard to change the perception. How are you showing up? Are you showing up as the person that you want to be, or are you just sometimes showing up as that person? If you want to work on your brand, if you want to create an image for yourself, you should always be showing up the way you want people to perceive you. The third step is to work on your face. This is something I am still working on, because my face gives deliverance sometimes, and not in a good way. You know, sometimes where you can sit and you'll be listening to someone, but in your mind you're thinking, like, that is the most ridiculous thing you've said. It can show in your face. So be very conscious of how your expression is. This is definitely something I'm still working on. It's difficult because when you passionately feel something about what someone said or whatever it is, you can show it in your gestures. You can show it by rolling your eyes, by just like piercing your lips, by just starting to ignore them and like do something else if you're in a meeting, or not making eye contact. That's something that I like do all the time, where I'll like not make eye contact because I don't want to show them what I'm truly feeling. So working on your facial expressions and how your gestures are with something that you don't particularly agree with is also necessary. Now imagine you're delivering something, you're communicating, you're either saying something casually, you're doing it in a work setting where it's professional, or you're on stage for something, and then someone is interacting with you. They do something or they say something that you don't particularly align with, and then suddenly you go, or whatever, you start losing the audience and you start losing their buy-in and you start losing their respect in some cases. So it's very important to try and keep it together. It is very difficult. The best way to deliver positive communication is to smile instead of just being glum. Today I'm going to be speaking about, like, nobody wants to listen to that. You want to be engaging. You want to move around. You want to smile. You want to look at people in the eye, but not like in a crazy way where they're like, okay, can you stop staring at me? Like, just be normal, but be likable. And there's so many people that do it so well. I love Barack Obama and Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey and those people that do it really, really well. But then I also look at like the people around me that I think are really good speakers, and they also have that same flavor, and it's a very likable way of communicating. And you can pick a vibe for you that suits your nature as well and run with it. And then eventually with practice, it will start becoming second nature. But if you don't do anything about it and you're not conscious of it, that's when it starts catching up with you and people start to see that. And then the communication starts getting twisted and your message doesn't land the way you want it to land. The next step that gives you confidence in communication is to understand what you're talking about and know it really, really well. So whatever topic you're talking about or whatever subject matter you're talking about, make sure that you know what you're talking about and you're not just speaking from your ass. Like, really understand what you're talking about. And if you don't know something, that's okay. We are not supposed to know everything. We're not God. We're humans. We sin. We do all the things that are wrong. We even make mistakes on the things that we're supposed to do right, even if we know it. So if we're so flawed, then we cannot be so hard on ourselves. So understanding that it's okay to say, listen, I don't particularly know too much detail about that. I can research and get back to you. If you're more transparent, it will be received well because people will relate to that because they also don't know everything. No one in this world knows everything. We're all learning beings and proud of it. Researching your topic and understanding the topic or subject matter will also prepare you for those curveballs, especially if you're in a presentation or if you're a keynote speaker and you open the floor to Q&As and someone throws you a question and you're like, what the F? Like, I don't even know. That's not in my speech. Like, you don't want to be caught red-handed. So the more you research and read about the world around you, the better equipped you are to handle people that like to throw curveballs at you. And the fifth and final step, I had to make this a separate step, even though I've said it so many times, is practice, practice, practice. Practice in front of the mirror, do a voice note, because you want to have different elements to analyze yourself, to correct yourself, and to better yourself. So when you record yourself, you're watching yourself. You're watching your body language, your gestures, your facial expressions, the way you look, etc. When you voice memo yourself, you're listening to how you're articulating the message, how you're pronouncing the words. Are you saying too many filler words like ums and ahs? I do that a lot, and I try every day to consciously not say ers and ahs too often. When you look at yourself and listen to yourself separately, you focus your energy on either listening only or watching only, and then watching and listening. That helps you to understand yourself better and to critique yourself better. I love to do that with myself. I do that with every video that I make, and every single time I watch it, even if I've watched it 100 times, because you do when you edit and then you watch it again, and like, I'll always find something that maybe I should have said this differently, or maybe I can do this differently. So if you always have an ever-learning mind and you want to be adaptive and be able to adjust and accommodate, then you will be a better speaker and you will be a better communicator, and your message will start landing the way you want it to. So to recap, in order to speak confidently, focus on speaking clearly, understanding your topic, looking good, good and pronouncing your words well on a good pace. Practice, practice, practice as much as possible and critique yourself and do self-analysis. And in time, you will become a good communicator. Remember, confidence is a skill that takes time to build. But with these steps, you are going to speak with confidence every single time. It's been a treat. Thank you so much for choosing the front row. We'll do this again soon. Cheers.